Oh, okay. Looks like we're live on YouTube.
Yay.
Yay. I think we'll just give it. I, I mean, we already. People are going to see us 10 minutes later, so I guess we can just
Yeah.
start off. Okay. So, hi everyone. We are finally live for this weekend, and we have a very special guest with us, Sapeksha. Did I get your name right?
Sapeksha is good. Yes. Sapeksha
Sapek.
is also.
Yeah, he's currently. Oh, actually, I'll just leave the intro to him. So, Sapek, can you just like give us a quick intro, a fun fact about you,
Yeah.
whatever? Take it
First of
away.
all, thank you for having me on. I'm Sapeksha. I'm a product manager at Walmart, and I work on the search part of it. So if you guys go search for something on Walmart.com, you're probably seeing results that I've put up there. Um, I work as a product manager mostly in most of my career has been in tech,
Okay.
in building things and helping other people build things. And yeah, I live in San Francisco right now. It's been
Mhm.
a little bit more than a year in the city itself, but in California, I've been here for about 6 years. Yeah.
Nice. So we are not here to talk about what you do at Walmart really, but we are going to talk about something I think which is really cool that you and a bunch of other folks have been up to this quarantine, something that I have personally leveraged, and I think a lot of some people at least who I forwarded this to must have used hopefully, which is COVID maps. So can you tell us a little bit about that initiative too?
Yeah. So COVID Maps, it's actually COVIDMAPS.in. COVIDmaps.in is a web app where people can share or seek information about essential services. And this mainly came about because of the situation that most countries are going through right now, especially when India went into lockdown about 2 months ago now, I think,
Right.
March third week, when the situation and the whole country went into lockdown. It was not very easy for people to find like very up-to-date information. Are my grocery stores
For
open?
sure.
Are,
Yeah, and like yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So are restaurants open? Are like basic services even open? And if they are, is there some expectation around me showing up? Am I just allowed to walk in? Is it safe there? Do I have to wear some masks? So what's the
Mhm.
environment like? And so COVID Maps is a web application where people can find this information. And
Yeah,
if they find out this information outside of COVID Maps, they can also share this information on this
correct.
application with others.
Right. And it was, I think it also, like when the few times I've used the app, it also lets people also talk about things which are in stock and things that are out of stock.
Oh,
Like
yes.
not just about the safety side of it. And I think that was really useful because in the beginning when people were like hoarding all sorts of stuff, it was really frustrating to like hop from one place to another hoping that you would find it somewhere. So I think that was also a really useful aspect of the app.
Yeah, so there were and there still are three main aspects of the website that people have found useful. Uh,
Hmm.
one is what you're talking about, which is item availability. Like there's
Right.
especially during the peak of this whole setup, basic things like hand sanitizer and toilet paper, and even like usual daily things like milk, eggs,
Hmm.
whether you have it or not, wasn't just something
Yeah.
people knew.
Yeah.
Then it was about access, which is like, can I even go to the store? And if I am, is there like a queue, or are people
Mhm.
maintaining social distancing? Is it safe
Right.
around? And third was more like security and like policy around like
Yeah.
what's the state observing? Like, are people able to travel between things and stuff like that?
Yeah. And even like places which have like changed timings, I think there was a way to
Oh yes.
like talk about the updated timings. So I think that was really cool because there have been stores where I've gone there expecting it to be like the regular hours, and it's like you open to us later now.
Yeah, but the thing's completely shifting, and that's what was interesting about code maps, which we'll get into a little bit more as we
Hmm.
speak more about it. There was no service out there which was actually helping people get this information. All the usual
Oh,
services like Google Maps they
Right.
didn't really
Yeah,
update
yeah,
themselves with the new business hours or
for
new.
sure. Yeah. I don't think Google has new business hour updates even now for a lot of places. Like, I'm pretty sure I've sometimes just gone off of the Google hour time and not found it to be active. Oh, sorry. That's my
For
alarm.
the people jumping
Mhm.
on the live session, we can also, I mean, I can also open the website quickly and sort of show them what the app looks like
Sure, yeah.
before we get into details of what it is. And
That'd be great. Yeah.
yeah,
Do you want to share your screen maybe?
yes. Let me do.
And it also is a phone app now, right?
Yeah,
So
it's primarily people have accessed it through their phones because we want
right,
people
I
to.
can imagine.
But it's a web application. It's not an actual physical application.
Oh, okay. Got it.
You have to visit to a website.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see.
All
Yeah,
right.
so it's like covidmaps.n, and right now I'm sort of zoomed out of everything that's on. It's in Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
Bangalore's been our one of our biggest cities. As you can
Nice.
see, people have submitted different kinds of information all across Bangalore. There's
Yeah.
infinite of these
Wow.
pens, and the kinds of information that people sort of wanted to share with each other was, oh, home delivery is offered here, and
Nice.
there's some stock availability like we discussed. And maybe let me try to see if uh,
Nandini milk full fat. Wow. That's really specific.
people have really gotten creative with how they share this information with each other.
Yeah.
Early on, it was more about safety. Maybe I'll try to find something. Yeah. So
Have you
mask
seen people?
required. Yeah,
Okay,
go.
yeah. No, like, have you seen people just writing like something that's not helpful or just messing around in the comments?
We've seen a bunch of really funny ones. There's been some posts around, oh, can you go pick up this cigarette box from this corner and just come and give it to me.
Wow, okay.
Social
So,
helping at its peak, really. Just trying to help have people find cigarette boxes in one corner, shared with you.
wow. So, do you like do any sort of vetting for the updates that come in, or do you just let, is there an automated CI kind of setup where things just get posted?
We do have once in a while. So let's say every 3 4 days we go in and we try to take out things that are maybe completely garbage. So
Mm-hmm.
there'll be certain empty entries. There'll be entries where all they've said is, "Oh, hi," or like, "Hello, what are you doing?"
I
That's
see.
the website. But in general, we try to keep everything else on there because even if we don't see its value, there's maybe people on the ground
Someone
in the
else.
city
Yeah,
who find it valuable.
makes sense.
Yeah. And this would be
It's
another
always
example.
interesting.
Masks required to enter store, adequate social distancing, etc. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty complete thing. Also, since I know a couple other folks on your team, like I know you had a very distributed team. Like I know somebody was in Vancouver, you are here. I'm guessing there's some people back in India. So how did you guys like? And you all have full-time jobs. So how did you manage to like bring the whole team together?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, and personally, it's been a super interesting experience to work with people across
Nice.
different countries. How it started off was actually Sanjeev,
Hmm.
the person you're in contact with. Sanjeev and his friend Arjun from his past work days, I think McKinsey time.
Right.
Um, while this whole India lockdown came into picture, in fact, exactly the day it got
Mhm.
implemented, they were sort of discussing how can we help the people in India try to just get basic information across to each other. Like, is there at least like a simple chat-based thing that they can do, some sort of easy interface so people can tell each other what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
especially with people all shut down in their homes. There was really no other way of conveying information to each other. You were just by yourself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And they thought, okay, let's just quickly maybe put a website together. It doesn't really matter if one
Mm-hmm.
person uses it or 10 people use it. We'll just have
Right.
a website. And then they sort of brought a few more people into the conversation just to see how they think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I came in, and we have another person called Funny who's in India.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here in SF. Funny's in India. Sanjay
Mm-hmm.
and Arjun are in Vancouver. and we did a
Right.
bunch of Zoom calls just like this. This has
Nice.
become the norm now.
Wow.
We did a bunch of Zoom calls and we said, hey, why don't we just actually build a website and see
Mm-hmm.
what it looks like? So
Right.
built a quick website and it seemed okay. We had very basic functionality of people going in and submitting something and then
Got
other
it.
people going and seeing it.
Right.
And and then when we started sharing it out in Bangalore with early people, we saw such strong interest, like
Mm-hmm.
really strong interest, that we said it's okay. Let's put everything else on hold in our lives right now, and
Wow.
and do a daily meeting just for this in Zoom. So a
Okay.
daily virtual Zoom call, which
Wow.
is able to get Vancouver, SF, and India in one place, which is basically evening time for us here.
Right.
Have
I just
everybody on.
sent you just interruption. I sent you the YouTube link in case you want to send it to your friends. Anyway, yeah, continue.
Let me do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just started doing a bunch of regular daily calls like you do for work, but
Nice.
more casual, just me.
But then again, like I think with work, it's like you already have an established product and you're just like working on that. But here you guys are coming together to build something new. Like that must have been a little challenging. Also, like most of you don't know each other. So like for someone to, take your feedback and work on it, how did that go? How was that experience?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, at least what I'll say is it was lucky for all of us, especially the other people. I'll say
Mhm.
everybody was just open and everybody was just very friendly. I think just the fact that we're all in from maybe a very similar background, or maybe because we all
Sure, yeah.
achieve some sort of a connection in there. We were just very open and frank with each other, just like
That's
bouncing off ideas randomly.
nice.
And the other good thing was everybody was really passionate about what it could be.
Right.
And we didn't really anchor too much on, will it fail or succeed? So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's mindset was, let's just
Went
put
for
it
it.
out there, put whatever
Yeah.
version we think will work. And if it
Right.
doesn't, we'll just change it the next day because we're all
Yeah.
working really fast on it, right?
Right.
So that was a good thing. So really smart people, all of these people,
Mm-hmm.
and people who were like, okay, it's okay. We are okay to fail. We'll just build something and we'll see what
Right.
happens. And it's
Right.
okay. It's a crappy website. It's a crappy website. If people like it, then
It's not.
like,
It's not though. It looks like a pretty, very professionally done thing.
oh, thank you. Yeah.
Something that
A
just
few versions to get there, but yes.
yeah. And I think the forward started going out pretty early in when the lockdown began. Like I think 2 3 days after it began, I got the first forward about it. So like, how did you get the word out? Was it just through your friends? And how does the reach look at this point? How has it changed?
For our first few days, we focused on Vancouver and Bangalore. That was like the
Mhm.
primary two cities we sort of started to look into. Vancouver because Sanjeev and Arjun were there, and they had already seeded this app to people they knew around.
Mhm.
And Bangalore because that was where the hotspot was. The
Yeah.
lockdown had just come in, and everybody in general in India was just going crazy. And
Hmm.
because we had a lot of friends in Bangalore, we thought it would be a good network to sort of seed it off of there as well.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
then early on, we saw a really strong interest in both cities.
Hmm.
In Vancouver, what happened was we had a few people on the team just share it on random social media groups, saying, "Okay, hey, we're building this. If you guys think you need help, just go visit this website." And then early on, just within the third or the fourth day, I think, some local media company picked us up, and they're like, "Hey,
Right.
we want to do an interview with you guys."
Nice. Sweet.
And that was we were not ready for this. And we were like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And then just the day after we got the message, we did another Zoom call with the local media people. And
Okay.
very nice woman, very short interview of a 30 minutes or something. She
Sweet.
asked some basic questions, how did it come to be, similar things like this.
Hmm.
Uh, and we were just very open, saying this is a very early website. We don't know where it will go, but
Right.
if it's interesting, definitely people should use it.
Hmm.
And then after that, we got our first spike. So we went all of a sudden we went from 20 daily users to about 600, 700 daily users within a
Whoa,
few
that's a big
days.
jump.
That was a
That's
big,
amazing.
and like I said, it was such quick virality for us that we were just, whoa, okay, we
Yeah, like you,
always playing catch up to what we could do.
right.
Yeah.
Did did scaling also become an issue because of that spike, or were you already prepared for it to scale?
Oh, we
If
had a bunch of issues. We had issues almost on a daily basis. Like this would fail, or that would fail. Something on the
right,
website would not load correctly. But on a larger basis, we were okay. So we
okay,
thought we'll be able to support maybe 100, 200 people, but every time we bumped up it by a 10 factor, we had to go change some of the pieces.
right.
Uh, yeah, so that was the first big jump. And then
Hmm.
as soon as we got that, within a few days in India also, we started spamming some of our networks to see if some
I did that too.
like all of us were spamming everybody we knew in India, and then a few Indian newspapers or media
I
outlets also.
saw that you guys made it to Economic Times and TechCrunch. That's big. Congrats on that.
Yeah, yeah, that was.
How
In
was that?
fact, it feels like more than a few months ago. It's actually only a month ago, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's pretty recent. So did you see
Crazy.
another jump after that happened?
Yes, so India was our biggest, and so Economic Times came in, and then we had one other. Maybe Times of India. Yeah, maybe Times of India. Those were our first two outlets that picked us up. And then after that, it was just a wave. Every
Right.
outlet that picked us up, we got a few 500,000. And so I think about on the second week mark, end of second week, beginning of third week,
Mm-hmm.
we hit 5,000 daily active users
Sweet. That's
and
amazing.
maintained 5,000 daily active users for about 2 weeks after that. So it was a crazy wave.
Yeah,
And
that's
it,
great.
it showed two things for us. One, people were desperate for a solution like that. People were
Yeah.
looking for easy ways to share with each other what is happening around.
Mm-hmm.
And if I need something right now, how can I get that? And
Right.
is it safe? So that was one. Uh, but it was also that um, the the natural sharing ability for people, like saying, okay, I want to help other people, was
Mm-hmm.
also strong. Like people were, as soon as they
Yeah.
saw the website, they're like, okay, you know what, I will share with other people because I think other
Right.
people might need.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you go through something, you kind of empathize better with it. Like if you've been on the receiving end where you've hopped a lot of places and just like not found what you need, I think you up- start thinking about like, hey, yeah, this is an actual problem, and you feel like helping out. That's great. Also, I think after uh, this went live, I also found a website which was doing something similar, but it was tracking stocks on Amazon. So it
Hmm.
was talking about like, okay, this is out of stock, this is back in stock, things like that. So, uh, was this ever a concern where you were like, okay, what happens when most people realize that they can just like do their groceries online?
Yes. We did think about that, but we were mainly focused on the people who didn't shop online.
Okay.
And well, the behavior is a little bit different in San Francisco and Vancouver, for example.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Can
so
you like?
Vancouver and San Francisco, the general share of population using online
Mm-hmm.
is slightly different. But it's also in these two cities, we didn't really have a very strict lockdown. People were
Yeah.
still
That's true.
able to get to grocery stores fairly easily. And let's say,
Yeah.
for example, in SF here, Safeway and all the other big chains that you're familiar with as well,
Mm-hmm.
they followed the regular opening hours. So it's regular opening
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
and when you get to the store, you have a generally good, comfortable safety feeling. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I can agree with that. Like even now I see people like spraying the cards down or making there's people outside who are like making sure you have a mask. And even inside, like people will call you out if you like come within less than 6 feet of each other. Yeah,
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 yeah.
that's true.
And yeah, so because of those reasons, I think people generally had a level of comfort going to the
Mhm.
store, even though online was available. I think the first
Yeah.
few weeks, people were still stuck to going in store because they had some reliable way
Hmm.
of getting it. In India, it was slightly different. I think people were looking for solutions uh, to shift to online, but
Right.
the response on the on ground stores and retail stores was definitely stronger. Like
Right.
we did see so we did some surveys on whether people shifted to an online behavior because of this
Okay.
whole setup.
Right.
People did say yes, a few people, but there were still a lot of people who were still going to their regular grocery stores,
Hmm.
wearing the mask and just doing the basic thing.
Right. Yeah, that's another point I wanted to ask. Like, how did you collect data to understand like user needs? Because even my the way I was beginning of the quarantine and now it's changed. So how did you like, try to understand those changes?
Right. Leading off of the question that you had earlier in how we developed or how we expanded our user base in general,
Mm-hmm.
one of us in India, we were managing a set of on-ground people, I would say. So for every
Right.
city, we would nominate a couple of our first network people to
Mm-hmm.
be city managers in some sense.
Got it.
And we would constantly be in touch with some of our users to see what is happening. Like,
Right.
are you guys able to use the website fairly well? Is something confusing? So we were
Right.
using those on-ground interactions both for feedback on the app itself, but also to answer your question, also to get some sort of an input on what does the product need to be like. Do
Got it.
people have these needs? Are the needs shifting? Are the needs slightly different? Do we have to convey something else? So
Mm-hmm.
we were using it for messaging. How do you rightfully message stuff to people? How do you present it to people? Uh,
Right.
Also, which problem should we look at next? So that was our primary way of, I would say, evolving our product. And
Mm-hmm.
we had at any single point, I think we've had at least 10 to 15 on the ground city manager people
Okay.
trying to be in touch with maybe a few 30, 40, 50 people, actual users. And so we were using that as a way to see, okay, what does the product need to be?
Right.
That was
Got it.
really helpful. I think this is the first time I've been part of a project where we have had to conceptualize a new product
Yeah. Yeah.
just between
Can
us.
imagine. But then you're a
But
product manager.
for what?
But you're a product manager. Don't you like do that kind of stuff all the time?
Yes, but it's slightly different for me in a bigger company because there's a whole different team doing user research all the time, and we
Right.
get a lot of strong feedback from there. And even outside of that, we already have a user base. And because we
Got it.
already have a user base that's pretty loyal to us, we can sort of observe their online behavior. We can sort of try to get a sense for what they want even without really asking them. So because
Yeah.
how they interact with our systems online at scale. So if 1,000 or 10,000 people fail at one particular link of the website, we know that link is broken.
Got it. Got
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
but for a very new app where there's maybe 10 people saying something
Mm-hmm.
or one person complaining about something, we don't
Yeah.
know if the product is at fault. Is it only him at his location that's at fault? Are we not being able to see it? So there's
Right.
some non-scale problems in products where you have to sort of be a little bit imaginative or intuitive in saying,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I think he's facing this problem.
Right. So, okay. Yeah. So you can't get like everything from users because yeah, it's hard to like keep doing surveys all the time and make something get like a general consensus from surveys too because like there's people with like so many diverse requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. At the end of the day, somebody just needs to like make a decision and go with it. Right.
Yeah, have to be a little bit creative and maybe just try.
Yeah.
Uh, but also, I think in general, we were all going for intuition. Like if if I have to use this product myself, which is what our entire goal was, that
Right.
we felt like we ourselves needed a product like this. And if I was in this person's place, what would I want to do? What would I want to
Mhm.
see?
Right.
And we were just going off of that and seeing if people reacted to that pretty well.
Right. So, like, how do things look? Like, we did talk about the fact that there have been changes in user expectations and even like the spikes that you're talking about. So, there have been all sorts of changes since you started on this project versus now. So like what's like, how do things look standing today? What's your user base? What cities are you in right now? How are people responding to the app at this point? Because like now it's been 2 months in, so even me, I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm liking it, but I'm definitely trying to make peace with it and tell myself that okay, this is going to be the norm for a while. So as the normal changes for people, how does their response to your app change?
Yeah, it's actually a great way you put it. The new normal, right?
Yeah,
What is the new normal looking like? But yes, after we saw a huge wave of people coming in, 5,000 daily active users, and I think in total so far we've had 70 to 80,000 unique users show up on the website. So
that's
there was a phase where a huge number of people were showing up on the website, were contributing to the website, and also getting help from the website. So a lot of
mhm,
stuff is happening. But a month in to the lockdown, so last week of April,
mhm,
is when we started seeing our numbers sort of trail off.
okay,
People showing up on the website were coming down. People even contributing, making posts on the website saying
right,
about new stores and stuff was
mhm,
also trailing off. And as we looked in, as we tried to figure out what was happening, we did a bunch of surveys to say, okay, with the
right,
same
what happened?
on-ground fleet that we had, and also on social media, we put out a survey and we tried to see what is really happening. Why aren't people using this product as much as we thought? And
Right,
then what came out of that whole process were two things. One, people sort of reached a new normal, which is
yeah,
yes, I have now accepted this new sort of a status around me, which
right,
means that yes, I won't be able to go to the usual. I won't be able to do my usual trips to the restaurants or to basic services that I'm generally used to, maybe to the post office, to the bank or something. I'm just gonna
okay,
sit here at home and avoid all those things,
hmm,
possibly, until there is a day when it will shift back. So
right.
all
So
the
mhm.
go ahead, sorry.
No, so they were okay with like, okay, if I don't find it, yeah, no big deal. I'm not gonna stress about it and go out of my way to like hunt for it.
Yeah. Because I think in general, some sense of that the whole feeling of safety became priority one, which is I'm
Yeah,
going to worry about being safe first. It's
for
okay if I don't do XYZ things until much later.
right, right. That
It was
makes
either that, which we found a little bit, or it was people were seeking information, but all they needed was one little push. So okay, yes, this grocery store is open at a different time,
mm-hmm.
and it is selling
Ah,
only
I
these
see what you're
things.
saying.
And
Right.
so, okay, I will accept this new
Hmm.
framework,
Yeah.
and that's enough for me because I think that that new setting will be consistent for a while.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Like, I don't. Okay, so like if I'm going to a grocery store every day and once I have the new updates, I won't have to like go back to the app again and again. And
Yeah,
oh, damn, yeah. I see how that could
yeah.
lead
So
to.
that was also happening a lot. So we started seeing a lot of people early on saying these are the new business hours, and I'm
Right,
sure people got a lot of value from it. And a lot of people did message me and message
right.
in the team saying this is super
Yeah,
valuable. But once they got that value, there was
right.
no more incremental value they could get from the product. It was a one
Mhm.
time huge value add to them. And then after that, it was just not there.
Right,
And so
right.
because of these two reasons, I feel like the product trailed off.
Mm-hmm.
And so from the fourth week of April, week by week, we saw our general engagement numbers come down. Though,
Mm-hmm.
though what was interesting was even as it came down, as India implemented some other sort of changes. So, for example, in Chennai, they sort of extended the lockdown and they also
Right.
added some more restrictions
Got it.
during. I think this was the last week of April, I believe. And as soon
Mm-hmm.
as they did that, we saw a spike in Chennai. And
Okay.
similarly, in Hyderabad, a few days after that, there was something similar where the
Mm-hmm.
restrictions were changed and sort of a new sort of setup was put in.
Hmm. Okay.
Basic grocery stores had to adhere to some guidelines in general.
Okay.
And so as that happened again, we saw a spike. So
I see. I mean,
what was
yeah.
interesting to see was people were leveraging this product very well.
Mm-hmm.
And as behaviors around the city changed, where people didn't know what to do, They
Right.
were going to this app to sort of get that
Yeah, yeah.
content, and then as soon as they got that value, again it sort of
They're
disappeared.
done. Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah. So
That's
as of right
very interesting.
now, we have the website is still up.
Mm-hmm.
We still have people showing up, but it's very few. I think we're consistently doing about a few hundred, maybe 300 to 400 DAUs right now.
Okay.
I think the product has reached a stage where we believe it can sort of sustain itself. People can help each other,
Okay.
and any new city that sees change in behavior like this, people will go back to the website. I mean, we still have our basic networks open. If people want to reach out to us,
Got
they
it.
can. All of our support groups in WhatsApp are still open. So
Mm-hmm.
we're doing all of that, but we've sort of rolled our sort of continuous investment into it a little
Mm-hmm.
now.
That makes sense.
The website will run, but we believe it'll slowly sort of taper off as COVID goes out.
So, like, what are you forecasting for uh, COVID maps in the future? Are you just saying it's just is it a COVID only service, or are you guys thinking of pivoting to something else possibly after COVID?
Yeah, so we've been, as a group, we've been actively discussing what does it mean for COVID maps specifically, but also what have we learned from this whole very crazy project to sort of apply
Right.
to other pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what we've found is that there's still two problems that people are facing, regardless of whether it's code maps or not. I mean, code maps has definitely accelerated that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it? What are some of these problems that will stand the rest of time, maybe at least for 6 months or a year
Right.
from now?
Right.
And so one of them was item availability, which is
Mm-hmm.
similar to what we were discussing earlier. People
Right.
still continue to face issues on where they can find something. Like even today, I don't think I can find toilet paper anywhere in the grocery stores around me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Uh, s- Sometimes I'll find maybe one roll, but that won't be the brand that I generally try to go for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hand
That's
sanitizer
interesting
are back in
because
stock, but go ahead,
what's
please.
that? No, like I probably shouldn't say this, but I really haven't found a dearth of anything that I've looked for so far. Like
You
the
are
only
pretty lucky.
time
You're definitely pretty lucky.
yeah, okay. Yeah, that I think that's why I can't really empathize. I can sympathize, but I can't empathize when someone says, okay, I didn't find this today. I'm like, what are you even talking about? But anyway, yeah. Okay, so
Wow,
item
you have definitely been in a parallel world where you didn't find any of those items. Uh,
okay.
so item
Okay.
availability was
Right.
one big problem that we thought is interesting, and then the other problem was safety in general. Like even as people roll back on the whole lockdown concept,
Hmm.
cities sort of allow people to get back into their usual daily lives.
Right.
We saw that people still have some sense of, I want to say fear, maybe fear is a strong word, anxiety, maybe, which
Yeah,
is it okay for me to go to the grocery store still?
for
Uh,
sure.
if
Yeah.
I go to a park, like a very general, even for general things like a park. So if I went to Dolores Park the other day, the big
Hmm.
in the city, right? Uh,
Right.
we have little circles that people have drawn.
I saw that. That was
So
pretty impressive.
yeah, so there's 6 feet wide circles, and each
Hmm.
circle is 6 feet away from the other circle.
Right.
The city is still trying to maintain a very safe environment in every public space. So
Hmm.
it could be parks, restaurants, any sort of community building, government
Right.
buildings. So I think people still have a lot of questions and
Mhm.
are looking for answers on, is it safe for me to go do this thing at this place at this time?
Okay. Right.
And
Right.
that was the other big piece. And so we as a group we discussed a few ideas of these things, and
Hmm.
felt like safety was something that will continue to live for a few months from now.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Uh,
For
the numbers haven't still gone down. The cases of COVID-19, at least in the US, are still
Mhm.
at a pretty high. I mean, they've sort of flattened out, but it's still at a high number.
High number. Yeah.
Even in India, I think the numbers are still not coming down.
Right.
I think
And
the
there's the whole aspect of things going unreported. So you never really know. Like, I think that's, for me, that's also a big piece of this whole thing. Like, okay, this is what's getting reported, but I'm pretty sure things are slightly or even a lot worse just because I don't because of the unknown. So yeah. So are you potentially trying to expand to not just essentials but all sorts of services
Yeah,
when it
so
comes to the
we feel pretty good about at least investing some time on the safety side,
right,
and we will expand. We'll probably expand it to all sorts of public services, not just grocery stores.
right,
And it's still in the works. We don't know what it would look like, but we think attacking the safety problem
right,
and giving people some sort of comfort or confidence to go do what they want to do
right.
um, is what we want to focus on. And how we do that, we still have maybe we have to figure out some last minute
Yeah,
details.
of
But
course.
that's how the direction we think code maps will sort of fit well into all the on ground networks that we've built, the entire tech that we've built with the app,
Mm-hmm.
with people being able to post something about a place, people able to react, people being able to react to that. That
Right.
general tech framework will also fit well with these with the new problem of safety.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we have to explore quickly and sort of see what we can put out there.
I think the team is pretty solid. Like, I think there's a good mix of, you've also crowdsourced developers, there's product managers, and looks like you are a fast moving team given that you went from a zero to a fully functioning product that fast. So I think it would be easy for a team like that to pivot to other things too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think we have another 10 or 15 minutes. So let's take some questions. There's one question I had, then I'll go to some questions that we've gotten during the call. What was the most rewarding thing for you with all this?
Um, uh, let's see. There were two different pieces that in general, gave me a feeling of, okay, yes, this is awesome.
Hmm.
Uh, One, the community itself, which is
Right.
seeing not just the user community help each other, but
Hmm.
also so many developers
Right.
coming, trying to be helpful.
That's
As
awesome.
soon as we put out a WhatsApp group link saying, please come help us with development, please come help us with designing, we got so much interest.
That's
I think
amazing.
at some point our developer group had 40 people or something.
Wow. Yeah.
And we were on our side, we were trying to figure out how to manage this many
Hmm.
people who are interested. How can we give
Right.
these many people an ability to contribute to the system?
Right.
One feeling of, okay, great, great feeling was, yes, so many people are interested in partnering with us on this.
Hmm.
Uh,
Right.
but also the user side, a lot of people reaching out to us saying, this is great. This
Hmm.
really helped me.
Yeah.
Uh, Even for myself, for the first time, when I saw someone else post about
Mhm.
toilet paper somewhere and I wasn't
Right.
able to find it, and I went, I used the website to go, okay, this is where it is.
Right.
And I went there and I got it for myself. I was like,
That's
okay,
awesome.
I've built a
Yeah,
product
this
that
is
I'm using
working.
myself. That was,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I think
cool.
the sense of rewarding feeling or something was people not just accepting, but
Hmm.
thriving about the product, just
Yeah.
sharing with other people saying, this is a great product. I have benefited from it. You should also use it. I think
Yeah.
that itself gave us all, everybody in the team, a pretty.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a huge human aspect to your app. Like, you can you don't just gauge things about user behavior when it comes to people using your app, but just in general, just being able to see that people are actually wanting to help each other. I think that's
Yeah.
an amazing takeaway from building something like this. I think I'm going to move on to a couple questions that we got here. So someone's asked, how has it been working for a company full time versus a big-ish side project like this? How sustainable do you think this is?
Short answer is it's not. But uh, how has it been? Well, so I'm generally already a pretty workaholic. I'm not happy with that aspect of my life, but I am.
Yeah, right.
I do spend a lot of time. doing work. But
Mm-hmm.
even outside of that, I think what pushed everybody, not just me, everybody on the team to go way beyond what their usual workday looks like. So going crazy at work and also going crazy on a side project like this,
Mm-hmm.
basically taking over their entire day and not doing anything else pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone was pushing themselves to do this because of, like we said, the reward that they saw, not
Right,
just in terms of what they're learning for themselves, but also the constant feeling that people are saying this is a great product.
right,
So
right.
I think the
Gives
only
you
reason
that
why people
rush.
came back again and again was, okay, this is a great product, a great problem.
Right.
Even if we're able to solve a minor fraction of it, it is still a great thing that we can do for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, all of us in the team, we've all come from different backgrounds and different sort of corporate setup. The skills that
Mm-hmm.
we've built up, at least the way we all look at it, is yes, we have these skill sets. Let's use it to build something in this situation and in this need.
Right.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So it's been hard. It's not. I mean, if someone's asking, is it scalable? Did someone say
Sustainable. Yeah.
it's not
It's
scalable?
not. It's not sustainable. Okay.
Not sustainable at all. If this project uh, had gone on to become more prominent in our lives, or if it will still, because there is still
Mm-hmm.
that scope,
Potential.
I think we'll all be motivated to quit our own jobs and do something about this problem.
Whoa, I hope the rest of your team is listening, dropping sly hints out there. They're
Oh,
gonna hold you for it.
no pressure to anybody.
You
Uh,
said on live TV. All right. Okay.
yeah,
So,
but it's not. I think any sort of problem like this where we have to be passionate about what we want to build, I don't think it's going to be easy to manage
yeah.
two
Yeah.
competitive
Also.
levels. I think if one of them, if any of these products that anyone's building out there uh, is taking off, if you're seeing this crazy value in it, I would just recommend quitting and
Yeah.
focusing on that.
Got it. All right. So since you spoke about the getting into the safety space once COVID is done, are you also thinking about including something regarding COVID testing in the application?
Oh, interesting. Um, we have thought about it. For
Mm-hmm.
example, cities have public data sets on where their testing sites are. As an
Right.
example, SF has, I think, about 4 or 5 testing sites. They also
Mm-hmm.
have public hand sanitizing stations spread across the
Right.
city,
Right.
especially for people, homeless people, or other people
Yeah,
poorer people who don't have the luxury to have these at home.
for
The
sure.
least they can do is just have a station out there.
So you're looking at these as potential things that you could.
Yes, even in India, a lot of the cities and a lot of people reached out to us. Pune, there was some place in Bangalore and Bombay where there's a lot of public information available from
Mhm.
government, from a government related effort, or people
Nice.
partnering with government agencies
Got
on,
it.
say, pet services being safe, or
Interesting.
other human services being
Right.
set up to be in the most safe way possible. And there's a lot of info about them.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely want to integrate them
Mm-hmm.
into the whole safety universe as well. I think
Got
the
it.
way we're looking at the problem is any trip, any essential trip you might want to make,
Mm-hmm.
um, which includes testing yourself or even
Right.
go to the clinic, how can we give people confidence that yes, it is okay to go there, and it's best if you follow these guidelines if you go there.
Right. Right. That makes complete sense. Yeah. So since you mentioned data, there's one data related question here asking where did you get your data from, like the COVID data and like grocery store use data.
Uh, well, all of our data is crowdsourced. Every single,
Crowdsourced. Yeah.
yeah. So every single piece of data that we've acquired came from people submitting it. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that's outside of a user submitting it is actually the place information itself, which we get through
Right.
Google Maps.
Google Maps. Yeah.
So we leaned off of Google Maps to get the actual place information. Every
Hmm.
information that was added on top of the place, which is what open close hours or safety information there, and any other
That's all
it's
crowdsourced.
all crowdsourced.
Amazing.
And because it's all crowdsourced, um, and we don't really own the data, the way we've been looking at this whole project is it's fully open source.
Hmm.
Anyone who wants to use the data can. We still are open to if anyone wants to partner with us on doing something with this data. We want to explore that because it's
Nice.
really everybody who used the app put the data together, and we want that data set to be useful for anyone.
Hmm.
So
Just. Mhm.
yeah, go ahead.
Got it. Just out of curiosity, like this is my own question again. So I did see like the hotspots in North America and India. Like, what about Europe or South America? I don't know, but like Europe, did you look at what's happening out there?
Um, we we did try to we tried to share it everywhere that we could. Our
Hmm.
main focus was still Vancouver and Bangalore, and even after the first week, the focus was just Bangalore and other Indian cities.
Okay.
Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, each of these cities, I think, got an enough number of users. I think we said India is where it seems most unstructured right now in
Hmm.
terms of information, in terms of people not having any other way of knowing this. So we
Hmm.
said we will focus on India specifically, though we did get some organic lifts from I think Brazil
Hmm.
somewhere.
Interesting.
Sanjeev knows these cities way better than I do. There's a few cities spread out there. We got a little bit of traffic from Iran, I think.
Hmm. Wow. Okay.
Uh, like a little spread out there a little bit by little bit, maybe getting 10, 20 users somewhere there
Okay.
for a
Okay.
spike. But we never really intentionally drove the app in those markets. We
I see.
specifically said Vancouver looked interesting, so we invested a little bit of time in that, but mainly all Indian cities.
Okay, so sounds good. Is there a plan to expand, or like that there's a solid user base in these two places and you'll just go with that?
Well, as we switch towards safety, because that's as we explore that idea and we try to switch the whole thing towards safety, I think we'll still want to focus on two or three main cities.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Uh, India will probably be one of them, though we've not
Mm.
really decided yet. Uh, I don't think we'll try to get to Europe yet. I mean, we'll see, because the whole benefit of actually releasing the product in India and in North America is we are actually here. So
Yeah,
we ourselves can be users and we'll know what's working and not working.
that makes
Like the
sense.
culture and because as we go into some of these safety related aspects, the culture becomes a big thing as well. How do people
Yeah.
perceive safe?
Right.
Like what is
Right.
safe for you and me could be different from what is safe in India.
Yeah, and like my parents live in Sweden, so they've been keeping tabs on the updates there. And Sweden, I don't want to say lax, but then again, like you mentioned, culture. They're more like they have. I don't think they've closed like outside seating in a lot of the restaurants and cafes. They are like, we want that to happen. We'll close indoor seating, but we want to keep that open because they're also thinking about the whole mental aspect of this thing. They're like, people get affected. We don't want people getting affected mentally by closing things down. So yeah, you're right, like that's a little tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of the
that.
people in the group was also saying, and that was a really good point, the concept of a queue itself,
Hmm.
it's different in India and here. Uh,
Yeah.
so if there is a queue in India, it means organized. It means there's some sort of an organized thing happening, which
Hmm.
people already perceive as as one step better than how it
Yeah,
normally is.
yeah,
But
yeah,
here in at least in SF, or I'm sure you're aware, for
yeah.
us it's a queue is an accepted thing. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, you just have to.
Yeah,
Like, it's an unwritten sort of a rule. No one has to tell you to form a queue. Yeah, I get that. That's very interesting. So, yeah, I think I've run through all most of the questions we have. There's one off-topic question, but uh, it's more just for you. What was your motivation to move from software engineering from civil engineering?
oh wow. People on the live thing have found out. My background.
You did, yeah.
That is
I think
definitely.
it's just Akriti.
Oh,
So that makes it much less stalkerish.
I mean, it's a longer conversation, but if I have to keep it short, because this is not about my background, but uh, I think I generally like working on problems or products that I can see a quick response in.
Hmm.
So I think software products, in general, consumer products have that. Like
Yeah,
if you build something, you can see people react to it very quickly.
yeah,
I've
totally.
always had that sort of a feeling where, okay, I want to build something for this problem and I want to see people react to it right away.
Hmm.
And in civil engineering, that's not possible. I build something, it takes me 5, 10 years to build something.
Yeah, yeah,
And then people come in and live in that building maybe another 10 years later. It's a whole
right.
slow process.
Delayed
So I think
gratification.
early on I'd made a decision that okay, I want to switch towards something that's more tangible.
Right.
And software seemed clear. So I moved to software development, and then after that, moving into product was a
Yeah,
different.
that's great. But yeah, I think that's all I and everybody on the call had for you. And but yeah, this was great. I loved chatting about this. I think the most interesting thing for me was like learning about the whole human aspect of this application, because a lot of times about software stuff we don't really talk about the user aspect or behavioral aspect of things, and user of course, but not the behavioral aspect of it. And it was very interesting for me to know how it changes for a software application.
Yeah, this has
Thanks for
been
doing.
super interesting for me as well. I think through this conversation also, I think um, it's been interesting to see how other people view the problem, get
Mhm.
reactions from even from the questions to see what kinds of things people thinking about.
Right. Yeah.
Super interesting talk. Yeah, I've been fully engaged. I didn't even realize it's been an hour already.
Yeah, and I didn't call this out sooner, but I love the Zoom background.
Okay, it's fine. I
Amazing.
shouldn't have added on. I generally try to mess with people at my work with different, but yeah, yeah, it's fun.
Yep. Thanks a lot. I think I'm gonna sign off now, but this
Bye.
was great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.